Hello and welcome back to BlueHat CyberSec Academy. In this video, we will explore the next topic from Security Principles, which is included in Domain 1 of the Certified in Cybersecurity, or CC, exam by ISC². And it isn't just for exam preparation. It's also perfect for anyone interested in building a strong foundation in the world of cybersecurity. In this lesson, we'll explore what security controls are, and also making connections between real-world actions and security outcomes. Make sure to watch till the end because these topics are really the foundations of cybersecurity. If you haven't already, subscribe to BlueHat CyberSec Academy. Your path to becoming a cybersecurity professional starts right here. Now let's begin. Security controls pertain to the physical, technical, and administrative mechanisms that act as safeguards or countermeasures to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the system and its information. The implementation of controls should reduce risk to an acceptable level. Let's discuss these controls in detail one by one. First, physical controls address security needs using physical hardware devices, such as badge readers, architectural features of buildings and facilities, and specific security actions taken by staff. They typically provide ways of controlling, directing, or preventing the movement of people and equipment throughout a specific physical location, such as an office suite, factory, or other facility. Technical controls, also called logical controls, are security controls that computer systems and networks directly implement. These controls can provide automated protection from unauthorized access or misuse, facilitate detection of security violations, and support security. Physical controls also provide protection and control over entry onto the land surrounding the buildings, parking lots, or other areas within the organization's control. In most situations, physical controls are supported by technical controls as a means of incorporating them into an overall security system. Visitors and guests accessing a workplace, for example, must often enter the facility through a designated entrance and exit, where they can be identified, their visit's purpose assessed, and then allowed or denied entry. Employees would enter, perhaps through other entrances, using company-issued badges or other tokens to assert their identity and gain access. Next are technical controls, which are also sometimes called logical controls, are basically the security measures that computer systems and networks directly put into action. These controls can give automated protection against things like unauthorized access or misuse. They also help in spotting security violations and make sure that applications and data are following the necessary security requirements. Now, technical controls can take a few different forms. They might be configuration settings or parameters that are stored as data and managed through a software graphical user interface, or GUI. Sometimes they're hardware settings that you adjust with switches, jumper plugs, or other methods. But implementing these technical controls isn't just about flipping a switch. It always requires a lot of operational thought and needs to fit in with how security is managed across the organization. And finally, administrative controls, which are also known as managerial controls, are basically directives, guidelines, or advisories that are aimed at the people within an organization. These controls give frameworks, constraints, and standards for how people should behave, and honestly, they should cover everything the organization does, including how it interacts with outside parties and stakeholders. When used well, administrative controls can be super effective for keeping information secure. Even something simple, like a security awareness policy, can work really well if everyone is trained and practices it regularly. These days, a lot of organizations are making their security stronger by weaving administrative controls right into the daily tasks and decision-making processes of their employees. This might mean providing ready references and advisory resources that are easy to access, or tying these controls directly into training activities. By doing this, the policies become more neutral and aren't just something for senior executives to worry about. Plus, it makes them practical and useful in day-to-day work and for every task. Now let's talk about connections between real-world actions and security outcomes. What sorts of activities can threaten the elements of the CIA Triad? Well, for example, imagine a coworker sharing passwords. Maybe Joe gives Joanne his password because he's homesick and needs Joanne to sign into his work computer to get some information. But later, Joanne gets fired from her job. The employer cancels Joanne's credentials, but doesn't realize that Joanne also knows Joe's password. If Joanne is upset and wants to get back at her old company, she could use Joe's credentials to change or delete important files. Or, in less hostile situations, someone could accidentally use the password to install unauthorized software that's full of malware. Another example is a remote worker's laptop being left unattended or unlocked at home. Kids or other family members might decide to play games on it, and they could upload software or files that seem fine, but are actually contaminated, leading to a corrupted workstation and compromised integrity. The CIA Triad can also be at risk from things like natural disasters. For instance, a long-term power outage could cause backup generators to run out of fuel or break down if they aren't maintained properly. And, as a final example, using the wrong fire suppression methods can damage or destroy both digital and paper information, impacting the CIA Triad. All these examples really show why it's important to do a thorough risk assessment for technical, human, and environmental threats, and then put the right mitigation options in place to protect the security and integrity of an organization's information. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Keep the learning going by checking out the next video in the series. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to BlueHat CyberSec Academy.